Hello, friends out there. It's been a little while that I've posted something on a woman's wild heart. Nonetheless, our hearts have stayed wild, and we are mothers who are doing the best we can while being on a healing journey. So I invite you to come along this journey. I talk about all things that concern the mother's heart and how we pass on love and security to our children while we are learning those things ourselves. Today I want to talk about something that I'm still not sure how to put it in words. Um, I kind of want to say this straight up front, and then I'll go into explaining a little bit that nothing is ever lost. And this is hard to say because we feel like we have so much loss in our lives. Things don't work out all the time, and we can feel like the doors close all the time, and this has for certain happened to me before, and I want to make sense of it more rather than it occurring over and over again. And my daughter's too small to understand, but once she can start understanding, I want to explain things to her, not just be like, oh, life sucks, but it's just what happens, it happens all the time, it happens, why even hope for better? Like, I never want to talk like that. I want to be like, wow, this is what's happened, this is how I'm going to respond to it. So almost like having your response already for you by understanding it all better. So and what I mean by nothing's ever lost, it's like energy. I love this analogy. If you think of a candle, so have you of course you've lit match and then a candle. It doesn't mean that the flame has gotten half, it just extended itself. So there's like two flames and then four flames, and you can make a really big fire. And fire keeps giving, and it remains the same size on its wick, or it grows in, like, it, bushfires reach a huge amount. But what I'm trying to say is that even the energy, so the energy gets changed into, like, it breaks down the particles of, for example, wood. It becomes ash, it becomes I don't know the chemical. Like, the oxygen gets changed into carbon dioxide. And like, what I just love is that, it looks like the energy is gone, but it's just gone somewhere else. Or I learned this in taekwondo. I did it when I was young. When you take the punch of someone, don't block it because that will hurt both of your arms, but take the energy they have and change it into a new move. So if they come against you, take their hand and flip them over your back, so you're using the person's energy. Then, for example, when we've gone to a job interview and we didn't get the job, when the door closes, it's not the end. And this is how we feel. We get so frustrated. We're like, it's a closed door, but I want it in. It's like running towards that door, and as it closes, take that energy of the closing door and push yourself off, like when you're in a swimming pool. Turn around somewhere else with a big push off and be like, okay, I'm launching away from this into something that I'm meant to do. So rather than your energy flying and then splat, and then you're like, I have nowhere to be in this world, rather than that, be like, okay, now that didn't work out, I'm going to jump somewhere else. So taking the energy of when something ends and transforming it. So the energy is not lost, it will just take on a different form. And I quickly want to mention something that happened this week. My beloved auntie in Germany passed away. She was my mom's brother's wife, but she was so dear to me because she was funny, she was creative, she brought the family together. We loved being in her house. She's very hospitable. She was so full of life. And when she became sick, I think over a year ago, none of us could really imagine her passing away. She was just life itself. She was larger than life. And I have to be honest, I didn't see it coming. I thought she would beat this, so the cancer had gotten smaller. So I was, on the expectation that she was getting better. She said she still wants to live so much more, and she wanted to see her second daughter marry, and I'm sure she wanted grandkids. And she passed away really recently. And now I'm making this message about nothing's ever lost, and I believe that because my faith has taught me about life after death, and I really believe it. So her life is ended here on earth, and it can feel like she's gone, and physically we can't touch her and hug her and spend time with her anymore, and it will feel so lonely for the family, the hole that she left behind. And I'm grieving with them in that space, because I won't get a text from her anymore, and I won't sit at her table listening to her stories anymore. And so I'm grieving with the family who was left behind. But if we see things from an external perspective, from an external and like outside of our lives, and eternal perspective, that life is never ever lost. Our spirits take on a different form when we leave this earth, and we don't exactly know how. Yeah, the Bible we follow doesn't go into details about what our life afterwards will be like, but it gives us a few hints, and it says that the spirit will live forever because it's a spark of God. So I believe that my auntie's spirit will live forever, and I think she's in a really, really good place. So also how death can feel like the end, I don't believe it is. I think she has transformed. I think she's gone into being a new being. I think her impact on our lives can still be really, really live and relevant. And so I'm hopping around, but I'm quickly trying to tie it all together. So what I also wanted to say to everyone out there who's had some trauma in the past, so I'm healing from a lot of things that have happened in my life. This is a healing journey that's been going on for a really long time, and I am getting professional help, but it's also all in here and in here. So I'm learning strategies, and I might just quickly read something from this book. It's really impactful. It's called Parenting from the Inside Out by Daniel Siegel and Mary Hartzell. Jewish children's doctors and psychologists, and they wrote such good stuff, and I really, really needed this. And so what I just wanted to share is that, like, if stuff has happened to you, it was also not, like, it was bad and not right, and there will be justice, big picture. And the God I believe in really, really cares for the small things, and he knows that you've been in pain when you were a child, or even recently, if some things have happened in your life that you don't understand. But we see those things and we think, "Boh, let's close the book on that chapter, turn a new page, start again," and not to dwell on it too long. But it is important to reprocess and to heal. We can't just move on and never deal with it. So if there's been pain in our lives, trauma or something unresolved, it's always asking for a redemption, and it can come. Redemption is always there. Healing is always available. I've seen it over and over again in other people's lives, and I've experienced it in myself. So no pain is ever too big that there's not a solution for it. So when we say, things come to, when we feel like things have come to an end and a halt, and there's nothing going forward, and then we want to move on again, let's talk again about this. The energy, like we will say, death is like an energy that keeps on going. It will take on a different form. And you know how people say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So if we take, the life force that hit us, can be very negative and hurtful, but let's turn that into a transformation. How can this make us a stronger person? So rather than distancing ourselves, because this chapter is talking about disorientation and disassociation. So those things are not so great for our soul. It's not good to be like, it can lead to fragmentation. So we actually want to take the experiences in our lives and learn from them, transform from them. So I'll just quickly read this. Unresolved issues may reflect the inability of the mind to integrate various aspects of memory, emotion, bodily sensations in a spontaneous set of free-flowing and flexible responses. Such impairment to integration can be seen as stages of rigidity or chaos, which may be experienced by the parent as feeling stuck, repetitious patterns of behavior, or as flooding states of overwhelming emotion. Freedom from these extremes of excessive rigidity and disabling chaos emerges as we move towards healing. Though the events of our childhood may make little sense to us at the time, it is still possible now to make sense of how they have influenced us. As this making sense process brings together elements of our past with reflection on the present, you may feel that your sense of possibility and your ability to connect the whole a more flexible and enriching future is greatly enhanced. This process can be done in solitude, but it is often helpful to allow others to bear witness to our pain and our journey towards healing. Yeah, so I really believe that healing is possible and not doing it alone. So yeah, I'm getting professional help, but I'm also opening up to mentors, mother figures in my life, and peers. So I really have a lot of friends in my life who care for me. I have a wonderful woman circle, wild woman community. But I encourage you that take the experiences of your life, see them as, I wouldn't necessarily say a gift, because some stuff is just like life is just hard and stuff is really happening, there's been attacks and injustice, but if we look at them and look at the victory of, here we still are, we're still smiling, we're still going. You know, some of us have the audacity to become parents. Imagine like passing on our life onto someone else. Like, that's the ultimate sign of hope. That's the ultimate sign of, you didn't get me down. So I encourage you that your past matters, and your past, without dwelling on it too much, take the pain and the sadness and the loss and the grief as part of the whole range of emotions, and bounce back and defeat those things with joy, with standing up again, with having hope, with spreading hope to others, with having a good laugh, having a good love, finding people to love, finding yourself to love. So choosing to bounce back from all these things rather than running from them, using them as a trampoline. You fell on them, but you will use that energy to launch yourself up, and that's where your power is coming from. And this is what our kids need to see us do, rising up after something goes wrong in life. So everyone's on a healing journey. It's my pleasure to share this knowledge is so helpful for me. I wish I knew it a few years ago. I was lying on the ground way longer than I needed to. Now I'm changing that, and my dream is that my daughter will become a resilient woman who can face more things than I have faced. So yeah, the equipment starts now in the examples. So yeah, and I also just want to thank my auntie in Germany for showing me what it's like to be a strong woman. So I'll close with my favorite motto. This is my longest video ever. My favorite motto is: speak peace to your mind and courage to your heart. I love you.